Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller, blah, blah, blah. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Cross Examination. Today, Exodus 33 is on the table. And yeah, I finished watching American Prime Evil last night. Very, very good show about, well, situationally, it's about the Mountain Meadows massacre and the subsequent fallout, wherein the early Mormon church was going around just massacring people. So yeah, that's a fun so bizarre that was. I've known about this for 30 years, and I've never ever known about or I've never ever suspected it would get made into an actual Hollywood production. But I think the guy that plays the lead is the dude from John Carter. Except he's got a beard, so he's harder to recognize. But I think that's him. I haven't looked it up to check if I'm sure, but he does a great job. It's not an uplifting series. That it is not, but it is very well done. Very, very bloody. Very bloody. Very, it's a tragic story, the whole thing. With just a sprinkle of hope at the very end. But definitely suggested viewing. Suggested. What is up, DJ Peterson, who says he is first. Then he says he's first. And I said, first! He'll take it. Dark Admiral Martin, Arlene Adkins Zell. And where's the ladies? Where's all the ladies? Not just you, Arlene. I know. I see you and I appreciate you. Hey, Mike and Lurkers. So that was that. I need to watch. I just came across a video. It was like the true story. I already know what like the true story is, but I'd like to know like the fallout parts of the story, like about if they did actually go and slaughter all the army, the army encampment, and then if they did go and slaughter the Indian encampment. A lot of slaughtering by the old Brigham Young. Man with 20 wives, by the way. Hey, that's, his call. Whatever. And a Buddy Rabbit. Hello, I'm not a lurker. I'm just late. Well, that's fine. I was a couple minutes late myself. I've only been going for a solid 4 minutes. I wanted to say it right as it turned to 4 minutes. Tina is on the way. Hello, Tina. Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy. Hello, hi. So yeah, it's funny. I thought Shad had mentioned that he had watched it before, and then I brought it up yesterday. I was like, "Did you say you'd watched American Prime Evil?" And he's like, he just had this blank look on his face, like, "Huh?" I'm like, oh, well, never mind then. Ooh, getting all dizzy. Too much coffee? Too early? No, it's not that early. Maybe I'm having a stroke. Take me away, Calgon. Just kidding. Yeah, so other than that, for those who missed it, Brooklyn Lou showed up yesterday, so he's alive and well. I'd like to know how his surgery went, but he did not enlighten us with that information. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of topics. I swear I could just, you know why? Because I just got up. Did my prayers. I came here, and I didn't have any like prep work. In other words, I didn't go to Twitter. Okay, I went to Twitter for a second, but just to like upload something, or to upload the link to this. So let's see. We got Wes Huff. Oh, what's Wes Huff saying? I debunk myself. We got the Neil Gaiman stuff. I don't really want to talk about that. You guys know about the Neil Gaiman stuff, probably, right? No, comic skate bullcrap. No. Crypto turned around. Man, we were having a, and then, so yeah, hopefully by the time El Presidente Trump takes office, then we can have a nice big baboomba, and I can stop worrying about things. Oh, the Malibu fires. Let's see how the I haven't seen. I woke up. Is there any updates on the Malibu fires that you guys know of? Oof. This is devastating. Maybe I should show this. This is just devastating. So this is Malibu before and after. I've made this drive. I don't know how many times I've made this drive, driving through these, being like, man, how do these guys have these houses right on the shore? And then, all gone. All gone. Dang. Brutal. All right. Yay, Trump. I know, right? DJ says, Capturing Christianity posted a video saying Wes was wrong. Haven't seen it yet, but wow. I don't want to. The Wes Huff video is like 8 minutes long, so I don't know exactly. I don't know how much that I want to play. Let's see. By the way, everybody needs to be praying for Joe Rogan.
To myself. I think it's the 10th article of the Mormon Church is that they believe the Bible insofar as it is translated. It's not the 10th, Wes. You lied. It's the 8th article of the Mormon Church that says that.
It's false.
Egypt is like Greece in that you have like, you can go to the Pantheon and you see that kind of stuff, right?
Pure fiction.
The Pantheon? Are you kidding me? The Pantheon is in Rome. Do you mean the Parthenon?
We made this one up.
Well, Paul says that 400 people saw him all at once. I'm pretty sure that's 500. Paul says that Jesus appeared to the disciples and then he appeared to 400 people all at once. You said it wrong again.
It's a made-up tale.
Ignatius of Antioch, arguing that there are only 4 gospels. He's in the 2nd century.
It's a total fabrication.
Ignatius, I think you meant Irenaeus. Listen, Wes, even Rogan catches you in your own mistakes. Actually, the oils in your hands are more abrasive than latex or even cloth. So
the oils are more abrasive?
No, sorry, I said that wrong. They're less abrasive.
Okay. You are fake news.
Now, obviously, I'm being a little bit self-deprecating. These are slips, ones that in a 3-hour plus, no topics outlined beforehand, no notes, non-linear conversation happen. And so I hope that you can give me a break for these obvious and clear missteps. There is, however, a criticism I'm seeing online that I think does require some attention and correction on my part. At around the 40-minute mark, Joe asked me a question about the Great Isaiah Scroll. And when he asks me how close it is to the modern Hebrew copies of Isaiah, I say that it is word for word identical to the later Masoretic text. This was admittedly a hyperbolic statement that I should have been much more careful on. My area of expertise when it comes to manuscripts is almost exclusively New Testament, although I do have some work with a handful of first century Greek fragments on the Dead Sea Scrolls for comparative work, and I note in my doctoral dissertation instances of parashot, division markers in the Hebrew text of the Dead Sea Scrolls. So up front, I am not, nor do I claim to be, a Dead Sea Scrolls expert, but let me tell you why I said what I said. What was going on in the back of my mind was a quote that I was recalling from Old Testament scholar Gleason Archer's A Survey of the Old Testament, where he talks about the copies of Isaiah found in Qumran Cave 1 in 1947, that they were 1,000 years earlier than the oldest dated manuscripts previously known, proving to be word for word identical with our standard Hebrew Bible, and more than 95% identical to the Masoretic text, specifically the Leningrad Codex, calling it almost letter for letter with that manuscript. Also, I had only a few months previously to this discussion with Rogan read Old Testament textual critic Emmanuel Tove's Textual Criticism of the Hebrew Bible, where he breaks down the variants of 1Q Isaiah B and compares them to the Leningrad Codex, describing the differences with the word minutia. Granted, both Archer and Tove are talking about 1Q Isaiah B, and my statement to Rogan was specifically in context to 1Q Isaiah A, but that is what was going through my mind when I had the conversation. At the same time, I have actually been in contact with a number of Old Testament scholars, even ones who specialize in 1Q Isaiah A itself, who have assured me that although there is disagreement across the scholarly spectrum, the statements are equally applied across both documents. However, what I should have said to Rogan is what I said to Billy Carson when he brought up his statement about Codex Sinaiticus, that Sinaiticus is nearly identical to modern Greek critical texts that we use to produce translations today. Rogan's reaction to the correction of wording should be exactly the same. It is a wow moment. And please hear me out here. I do not think there aren't textual variants in the Isaiah Dead Sea Scroll texts. I don't. In fact, later on in my conversation with Rogan, I specifically say ancient Hebrew doesn't have a vowel system in its writing that's overly comprehensive. And so in the Middle Ages, when you have these groups of Jews who are copying these Hebrew scriptures, who aren't speaking it as much as they're reading it, you got to figure out how to pronounce it, as because vowels make a difference. But if you took all the vowels out of English, if you were a natural English reader, you could probably...
This is way too long. All right. Sorry. I love Wes Huff, but this is going to be way too long. Yeah, and I like Wes, but he usually talks way over my understanding. Arlene says. Yeah, I mean, somebody's trying to catch him on the thing. It's like, it might be a tiny bit hyperbolic to say it's word for word, but it really is. It's word for word. There's our textual variances. Like, I always use the comparison to like English and English and American English. It's like if you're translating a Bible from English to American English, the words would be the same, but there would be spelling and syntax and changes like that don't functionally change the meaning of anything. But it's like, there they spell color with a U, weirdos. And here we spell it properly with no U. And you get a lot of that from English to English to probably Australian English to, I don't know who the hell else speaks English in this country, in this world. Other English speakers, there's going to be textual and contextual differences that don't actually make any difference. And so saying word for word is like this hyperbolic, because essentially all of the manuscripts are word for word. Yeah, Hebrew is weird. The vowels are dots on the consonants. It's weird. I saw Gavin Ortland's response to the word for word argument, and he effectively said that across all the fragments, it's word for word, e.g. the modern Bible is all there across multiple documents. Yeah. Yep. Correction, the modern Isaiah is there. Yeah. I mean, that's, you guys know, I don't know. It's like, I have such a small audience, and I know you guys have heard all this stuff before, so I don't want to like just regurgitate like how ancient, the scribes copied these scrolls and why they were so special and unique and expensive, and why there's all right. He makes a great point, I think, during the Rogan thing. It's like that's why we have less ancient Old Testament documents, because they were super hella crazy expensive to copy. They were all on scrolls, and they were meticulously copied only by the highest scribes in the temple, right? Meanwhile, every Tom, Dick, and Harry who wanted a copy of the New Testament could just copy it, and you're going to get more errors that way. But again, copy or comparing them all to each other, you filter out the errors to get to the original text, and then that's how you get to what was originally. And even in the case of like Codex Vaticanus, it's a how do they phrase it? What's the word? It's a Textus Receptus, which means whoever copied it, it didn't even matter if they wrote Greek. They were copying the letters one at a time. And that's how you get to the 666, which the 666, they're not technically in the Codex Vaticanus. It's not technically Greek letters. It's actually 3 symbols that kind of look like Greek letters that were later copied as Greek letters, but they were the symbols of Bismillah, in the name of Allah. So, hello, pseudo history. One day or another, we will all feel the hand of God or run into a brick wall. The past and lies always catch up to you. Amen. Absolutely. Who was lying? Who was lying about what? If you were to take an American book from the early 1900s, you would have to change words for it to have the same meaning. Language is complicated. Yeah, I mean, even that. Have you ever tried to read Chaucer? That was English. Yeah, English can get weird. Hey, it is Gary Shipman. What's up, buddy? Pseudo history. 666 is the hours need to qualify for employment insurance. Is it really? Oh, it's this guy. Wait, which guy? You mean Gary Shipman or pseudo history? But yeah, so Wes makes that point. I never really thought about it. That's why we have like so many. That's why the New Testament is the most trustworthy document in all of antiquity, because of how many copies we have. We have so many ancient copies of the New Testament books that it's like ridiculous compared to the next most. I think it's the Iliad or the Odyssey. I should memorize it. I just showed it like last week. Was it the Iliad or the Odyssey? One of those books is like the second most trustworthy, even though the gap between writing and first copy is like 500 years or something like that. And then, yeah. I mean, what sounds cooler? I read it in the Bible, or I read it in the Codex Sinaiticus. Solo Dio Gloria. Solo Dio Gloria. Mark of the Beast is the educational system. You know what? I'm going to say there's probably a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of truth to that. Gary! Hey, Jeff Potts. Gary! It's Gary! Oh, hey, Mike. We used to play a game reading really old books in the style of the AMP Bible. Amplified Bible? It was hilarious how crazy the books became when inserting modern meaning of old words. Yeah. When was Chaucer? Is that like 13th, 14th century? 15th century? It was before the King James Bible, right? I'm not even going to look it up. I just know it's like, I understand the King James Bible. I have a really hard time understanding Geoffrey Chaucer. It's so weird. Pseudo history. With more pseudo history, Caligula wrote the Bible. That is what we do call pseudo, as in false history. Dagobah Dave says late 14th century. Right on. Right. Thank you, Dagobah. Dagobah. I don't know why I'm talking like this. I mean, how would Yoda say? Talking like this. I do not know why. I am. I don't know how it's whatever. Let's see, 20 minutes in. We don't have to get to the Bible yet. We could get to the Bible early and then just leave some time if we have time after the fact. But I do love that yeah, Wes Huff, and then you had Mel Gibson on the next day or a couple days later. Man, Joe Rogan, I think he's gonna get saved. Let's see, how would you say not a bad impression at all in backwards Yoda? A bad impression? At all it is not. Joe Rogan is a mess. But here's the thing, Joe Rogan's a truth seeker. And it's funny because there's a thread on Twitter showing a bunch of clips over the last 10 years of how he's gone from being super rabid, anti-Christian, spewing the most ignorant nonsense about Christianity. And I didn't watch all of it. I watched like 2 clips, and then I'm familiar with this past week. But like, he's just like moving because he's a truth seeker and because he'll talk to anybody. It's like when these people he knows and respects drop these truth bombs on him, he's like, really? So it's like moving closer to closer because, like Jesus says, seek the truth. If you seek, you shall find. He's seeking the truth. The truth at some point is going to just open up his mind and his heart to Christ. So everyone should be praying for Joe Rogan, because imagine Joe Rogan converting. This would be like, I mean, we already got Russell Brand of all. Who 5 years ago would have ever thought we'd have gotten Russell Brand? He's like the most popular how would you phrase it? He's like a Saul. He's like a Saul turned Paul, but he's got this enormous platform, and he has a fan base that trusts him. That's what it means to be an influencer, right? When you can have fans trusting that you're being honest with them. That's why Joe Rogan is popular. That's why Russell Brand is popular. That's why all this modern influencer cadre is popular, because nobody trusts the news anymore. Nobody trusts the mainstream media anymore. Well, not nobody, but people with half a brain don't trust the mainstream media anymore. But they trust these guys. And even if they're wrong, they still trust they're being honest to themselves and thus honest to the audience. Rogan, Brand, like Charlie Kirk. And it's so great when you've got someone who's a leftist, who first of all gets red pilled to be like, well, all that stuff doesn't seem to work. Like reality, and that's the thing with Rogan, right? First, reality gets you. Once reality gets you out of that hive mind of leftist indoctrination, then it's really not that far to get to Christ getting you, right? Because once you believe in reality instead of the indoctrination and the lies and the pseudoscience and the pseudo history, like the pseudo history guy, then truth has a taste to it. And when they start tasting of the truth, they get a hunger for it. And when you are hungry for the truth, there's only one meal that will satisfy. That was beautiful. I just made that up and that was great. No worries, the scroll will come along soon. The truth is the opposite of what they tell you. By they, you mean the education system, yes. If they say you have rights, you don't. Okay, Andrew Wilson. I don't think Rogan is a believer. It's unfortunate. No, he's not. But he's a truth seeker, as I just so eloquently put. I thought it was pretty. I like that metaphor. I'm patting myself on the back for that. Whole Bible believers, welcome. You are one of us. One of us. One of us. Nobody should trust the media. I know. But there are people who do. There are people who do. I saw something on Twitter of someone who went to their mother's house and locked CNN so she couldn't view it. And she kept calling him and going, "There's something wrong with my TV. I can't get the news." You got to save them somehow, guys. Got to just listen to Have a Lonely. You too, Arlene. Rogan just needs a come to Jesus moment. Like, yeah, literally. Like, I mean, he's had he's had Russell Brand on, right? Taste and see that the Lord is good. Exactly. And the pseudo gospel. Which one? Take your pick. Taste and see that the Lord is good. And that's what I think. Rogan, it's like you got a taste for the truth. You want the ultimate truth, right? It's like you get a taste for chocolate, and then you want the ultimate chocolate. You locked your mom's CNN. No, my mom's getting pretty based, actually. It's kind of funny. She actually voted for Trump for this time. It's the first time she's ever voted in her entire life, and she voted for Trump. And she was like, she asked me. She's like, "Are you going to vote?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Can I go with you?" I'm like, "What? You've never voted in your life." It was after Trump got shot. That was the turning point for her. She's like, "I like this man." She would talk smack about it before because she believed the Japanese media, because that's all she watches, the Japanese media. But even the Japanese media is just full of propagandistic bullcrap. Jesus is my hero, my king. Amen. Same here. Same with pretty much everyone here, unless Lou shows up. Yes, Mike Rogan has had Russell Brand on. Whole Bible believer says, "I don't understand the idea of Christians voting. Why not? Why you would rather the heathens decide who our leaders are? Is that's a responsibility in our culture, right? Where we get to elect our leaders. If we elect Christian leaders, we will have a better leadership. Okay, I have a leader. Yes, I have a leader in my personal life too. That doesn't mean he leads the government. That doesn't mean he's... Look, if all the Christians got up and voted, Gavin Newsom wouldn't have ruined our state. I don't know what state you're in, but I'm just saying. I was just saying. I was just saying is all. Japanese media is anti-Trump, huh? I thought they loved him over there. I mean, the people do, but the media, not so much. Israel was not to want a king because we have one. Israel is not America. Israel. Which side had a true Christian running for office? Well, there's no such thing as voting for perfect. We're not voting for Jesus, right? You're voting for the side or whichever candidate is more in line with Christian ideals. The side, if you're not voting for the side that doesn't want to kill babies, you're giving power, you're giving an extra vote. That's the thing. Votes cancel each other out, right? I have a vote for yes, I have a vote for no. I have a vote for killing babies, I have a vote for saving babies. If I don't vote to cancel out a killing babies vote, my vote's gone. The killing babies vote goes forward. That's a big responsibility. And even if I'm in California and my vote doesn't count for squat, I'm still going to do what I can to cancel out one demonic vote. Well, God also places leaders in our lives as well. So long as they are not in contradiction to God, we are obligated to follow them. Democracy gives a chance to install a more godly leader. Yes. Israel is the people of God. Israel are the chosen people, but Christians are the people of God. America is a new Babylon, says pseudo history. All right, we're being taken over by pseudo history and whole Bible believers, and it is time. It's time. It is true that God made Joseph and Daniel leaders without a vote. Well, yeah, that's when prophets. Sorry, is America run by a prophet who selects our leader? Because last time I checked, that's not how it's done here. Dagobah says God doesn't have a problem with killing babies. The flood myth, the book of Job, the test of the unfaithful wife are some examples of God not being a protector of innocent children. Well, here's the thing. God's life and death are in God's hands. So when God takes people home at whatever age they do, that's 100% up to him, and that is never wrong because that's his selection. That's his choice. All right? It's in God's hands. When man tries to take it out of God's hands and do it themselves, they put themselves in the place of God to determine when someone dies. That's a totally different subject. All right, let's get to the Bible. Let me present this as a window rather than a share. Gosh dang it. There we go. In Exodus chapter 33, and welcome all the newbies in here. Glad to see you. You just said it. Life is in God's hands. That's right. Not Republican or Democrat. That's right. But you know what is in our hands? Our vote, which God allows us to vote to help choose. I don't understand why you would choose not to help direct who is in position of power over you in the government. Dude, that's just not true. Nothing is in our hands. No, it's not true. Look, this bottle's in my hand. My determining whether or not to continue with this show for the next half hour is in my hand. Don't say nothing is in our hands. God has determinate will and what is this? Determinate and passive will. So a great deal is in our hands unless God wants to supersede us. Alrighty. Exodus chapter 33. And the Lord said unto Moses, Depart and go up hence, thou and the people which thou hast brought up out of the land of Egypt, unto the land which I swear unto Abraham, Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, Unto thy seed will I give it. And I will send an angel before thee, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in the midst of thee, for thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I consume thee in the way. And when the people heard these evil tidings, they mourned, and no man did put on him his ornaments. For the Lord hath said unto Moses, Say unto the children of Israel, Ye are a stiff-necked people. I will come up into the midst of thee in a moment and consume thee. Therefore now put off thy ornaments from thee, that I may know what to do unto thee. And the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by the mount of Horeb. I don't know what that means. I don't know why. By ornaments, I think he means jewelry, but also the hem of your garment kind of denoted your station in life. Could it also, and those are ornamental. I wonder if that's also the case. That could mean like symbolically, you're removing anything that indicates your status, and it's a humility thing, right? I guess in that case, jewelry would also be, it's like the more jewelry, because back then you didn't have a bank, right? You're walking around the desert, all of your wealth you're carrying on you, right? Jewelry or ornamentation. And so if you take that off, then you're humbling yourself before the Lord. That makes sense, I guess. And Moses took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of the congregation. And it came to pass, took the tabernacle and pitched it without the camp, afar off from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of the congregation. And it came to pass that everyone which sought the Lord went out unto the tabernacle of the congregation, which was without the camp. That's interesting. So was the tabernacle prior to this in the midst of the camp? And then after this, Moses takes the tabernacle, which is the Holy of the Holies, it's everything, the Ark of the Covenant, and takes it outside of the camp, removing himself from the body of the Israelites. And then anyone who wanted to seek the Lord had to leave the body of the Israelites to go unto the Holy of Holies. Oh, not the tabernacle. That's interesting. I never thought about that. All right. And it came to pass when Moses went out unto the tabernacle that all the people rose up and stood every man at his tent door and looked after Moses until he was gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass as Moses entered into the tabernacle, the cloudy pillar descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar. This makes me think it's like God's initial idea is to be in amongst the people of Israel. And then Israel rebels, and Moses God essentially removes himself from the body in order to call people to him. Like if people want to, it's like if you're in the middle of it, it's like just presume that God's there. But if you take it out, it's like if you want God, you have to move towards God. Sorry, I think visually. And all the people saw the cloudy pillar stand at the tabernacle door, and the people rose up and worshipped, every man in his tent door. And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. And he turned again into the camp. But his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not out of the tabernacle. You think this is a Christophany? You think as a man speaketh unto his friend, do you think in the Holy of Holies Christ manifested himself there? I wonder. And Moses said unto the Lord, See, thou sayest unto me, Bring up this people, and thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. And thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast also found grace in my sight. That's what you want to hear from God, honestly. Now therefore I pray thee, if I have found grace in thy sight, show me now thy way, that I may know thee, that I may find grace in thy sight, and consider that this nation is thy people. And he said, My presence shall go with thee, and I will give thee rest. And he said unto him, If thy presence go not with me, carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known here that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. So shall we be separated, and I and thy people, from all the people that are upon the face of the earth. I wonder if that's symbolic of how Israel was separated from the people on earth. I mean, from, a separate, peculiar people. Sorry, just thinking out loud. And the Lord said unto Moses, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by name. And he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee. And will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, Thou canst not see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. And the Lord said, Behold, which is, again, he was talking to him as a man talks to a friend. So maybe there was not a Christophany. I don't know. I really, this is one of the questions I would have for the Lord when I see him face to face. And the Lord said, Behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take my hand away, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. Interesting stuff. Yeah, a lot of questions for me here that, I know there's probably a lot of speculation, a lot of theories, but honestly, if I want the truth, I'm going to have to get it from the man upstairs. Okay, whole Bible believer seems like he's on a tangent trying to convince us all that we should not vote and that we should let all of the powers of Satan rule our country, which I reject. Check out, and Romans has nothing to do with political leaders. Read chapter 12 first. When Romans was written, there was no chapters and verses. Read it in order and context. Bible is clear of respecting of authority. Assuming that speaking of divine authority, how do you square it? Look at this argument, man. No, brother, I'm just having a conversation. Are you against that? No, but I was reading the Bible and you were ignoring me. But now that we're done with that, yeah, feel free. I still think, are you making the argument that we're not to respect the authorities put above us? The Bible, it does say, that God puts people in places of authority, right? You're going to make Mike. I love Exodus. Exodus loves you too. Conversation is good. I'm not being hostile. I respect and believe you are my brother, whole Bible believers. Joe K, what's up, dude? Wouldn't like Mike when he cries, really. Thanks, Jeff. You're a peach, Jeff. Yeah, I really don't understand the idea of Christians saying that they shouldn't vote. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like, have you ever played any sports? Did you pick teams? Right? Did you say, I'm not going to pick teams, I'm just going to let the Lord pick teams for us? No, that's not how sports works. Our political system requires the acknowledgement and the input of the people. We are not under a theocracy. We are not under a monarchy. We are under a representative republic. Who is being represented? The people. How are they being represented? Through our vote. That's our system of government. Sports have nothing to do with faith. Okay, what does a representative republic have to do with faith? Do you just presume? See, everybody gets a vote. Everybody who's a citizen over the age of 18 gets a vote. That's how our people are represented. If you refuse to take part in that representative government, bro, everybody is evil. You're being represented by evil, my brother. Everybody is evil. There is none good. No, not one. Every single case of anyone voting is a case of the lesser of two evils. What you're doing by not voting and encouraging other believers not to vote is giving your vote to the greater evil. If you think you're not listening. Yeah, we're all evil. You cast the first stone, brother. There's no Jesus on the ballot. And what you are doing, literally, by not voting, is voting for the worse evil that's on the ballot. If you're not voting for the one who wants to save babies, even if they're an adulterer and a freaking liar and whatever else, if you're not voting for the one who wants to save babies, you're literally voting for the one who wants to kill babies. You're not voting. Your vote is your responsibility as a member of the American public. Evil is evil. No, it's not. No, it is not. There are sins unto death and there are sins not unto death. You know this. You're a whole Bible believer. Where is there less evil in the Bible? There is a sin unto death and there is a sin not unto death. I would say that's a pretty much a less evil thing, right? I mean, that's pretty clear, right? Me, I don't generally do this, but telling my wife she doesn't look, I don't tell my wife's not fat, but if I were to tell my wife she doesn't look fat in a dress to make her feel good, and that's a lie, not quite the same evil as putting a knife into the skull of an unborn baby, scrambling it. I'm not going to keep going. You know what I'm saying? There is less evils. Of course, there's still sin. What is the so? You're Mother Teresa was evil, right? Hitler was evil. Are you going to say, there's no difference between Mother Teresa and Hitler? I would never vote for Mother Teresa over Hitler because they're both evil. Bro, that's some weird ideological hill to die on. No, you're not just justifying evil, bro. You are freaking voting for evil. And grant you, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. It's like you can't. Oh man. Christians with this mindset are the reason that our country is where it is. Because if Christians all had always voted, we would never have the kind of freaking demonic people leading our country over the last decades. It is the Christian's fault. It is the Christian who won't vote's fault. Because if we were all in lockstep and voted for, hell, you know what? Here's the thing. If we were all in lockstep, we wouldn't have such evil representatives running for government because they would never get there. We'd have like pastors running for everything. Honestly, this is a very simple concept. I don't want to be mean, but whole Bible includes the parts where God says several times, your opinion is not in the Bible. The whole Bible includes the parts where God says several times that your opinion is not in the Bible. Just got home. What did I miss? Pretty much the whole show, Amy. Idiot means private originally, and then came to mean stupid. That's interesting. The fact is, using your analogy, if everyone followed Christ, we wouldn't need a leader. Bro. You act like you don't live in a country. We live in a country. We live in the most powerful, most influential, wealthiest country on the planet. There is a responsibility to us as believers to help guide who steers this ship. And if you are excusing yourself from that responsibility, you're going to have to take it up with God because he gave you that responsibility because you were born in this country. I'm going to bring that up in another stream one day. There's no difference between Hitler and Mother Teresa. I don't. Stupid. Maybe we should all just stop voting. Then laws are passed that make Christianity illegal. Then we can just die or bow. Sure, that makes perfect sense. I know, right? Right? Think about if all the Christians stopped voting. Right? Everyone here. This is like concepts are measured out in ridiculous circumstances. Right? If every single Bible-believing Christian stopped voting and we stopped canceling out all of the insane satanic crap with our votes, just like you would hope we all did, whole Bible believers, this country, well, we'd probably be communists for one thing. We'd be communists. There'd be prostitutes on every street. There'd be an abortion in every pot. This country would be burning hell right now. We'd be San Francisco. The whole country would be San Francisco or Los Angeles. Is that what you'd like? That's your dream version of America? Is to be the whole country is San Francisco? And oh, by the way, Christianity would be illegal. They'd probably shut down all the churches. We'd be persecuted like probably ancient Rome. And we'd like China. Honestly, it'd be like China. Right? You get persecuted for being a believer in China. Which, hey, you know what? That would make for much stronger Christians who only wish they could live in an America where people were allowed to vote. And Christians actually had a say in who ran the most powerful country in the world. Kind of like it is now. Except that there's still Christians out there who refuse to vote because of some weird ideological purity test that disallows them for voting for anyone who's ever jaywalked because they're evil. Apparently you're ignorant of history, whole Bible believer. There was this place called Rome, right? And they had, was that 9 persecutions where they would just gather up Christians for sport in the Colosseum, feed them to lions, crucify them, burn them at the stake, make them kill each other, make them be fodder for gladiators, because Christianity was outlawed. I wouldn't say similar things, but somewhat similar things are happening in China today. The Middle East, Christians are beheaded, Christians are burned, Christians. I hate to break it to you, man, but man's law, if you don't have Christian leadership, or at least Christian, people who value the Christians in their community, it very much can be outlawed, and you don't want to live where it is. So what you are supporting would lead to that very thing. I mean, just look how crazy this freaking country, this planet went with COVID. And look how quickly we lost our rights with COVID, right? You don't think that it would get insane if the kind of leadership, the anti-Christian satanic leadership, had no opposition in our government? It'd be Rome, bro. It'd be Rome. Justin Jordan says, should Christians vote in support of policies promoting love, for example, protecting gay marriage, or should Christians vote to oppose such ideas? I know many Christians on both sides of the issue. There's no such thing as gay marriage. Marriage is, and has always been throughout the history of mankind up until about 5 minutes ago, defined as the union of a man and a woman under. Well, here's the problem. It used to just be under holy ceremony, right? It was a church. It was a church or a religious institution. The problem is when the government gets involved, because there is a very good argument governmentally. And again, this only happens because we don't have enough Christians in government. When the government gets involved and says that, well, if marriage is a governmental institution, it cannot then be held back from somebody wanting to marry their dog, frankly. You can't. Rome became the seat of Christianity after 300 years of persecution. Thousands, tens of thousands. I don't even know what the total number of martyrs, killed, tortured, maimed, everything under the sun. This is the part you want. You don't want Rome, you don't want America becoming the seat of Christianity, because that would be putting Christians in power, and that would be what that would require Christians to vote for those people to get into power. Jeez Louise. How old are you, dude? Tina says, North Korean persecution of Christians in North Korea has been consistently high since the World Watch List first conducted it in 1983. Christians in Somalia have faced persecution, sometimes death, due to ongoing civil war in the southern part of the country. Call it whatever. Dagobah Dave says, call it whatever you like. Do you think gay couples should have access to the same legal protections afforded straight couples who marry? Yeah, I think they did under civil unions. There was absolutely zero reason to override the will of the people, by the way. Remember, this went to the will of the people in state after state after state, the most liberal states in the entire country. And the will of the people 100% of the time was marriage is a man and a woman. One man, one woman. It was voted on time after time after time after time in all these different states. Freaking, I think New York, California even voted for this. And what did they do? These liberal judges elected by people, I'm going to say it was elected. These judges are elected. Judges are elected. And these liberal judges who got elected because not enough Christians voted against them, They got elected and overturned the will of the people. The will of the people in this country is that marriage has a definition, and that definition is one man and one woman. And yeah, all of the quote unquote legal protections, civil unions covered that across the board. Christians in Libya are living in constant danger of losing their life. Sharing your faith is illegal in Libya. All right. This is gonna go. All right, hold Bible with me. The Most High bless you all. This has been real fun and not real fun. I love you. Love you too, brother. I can love you and you're wrong at the same time. It's all good. Christians in Mexico who leave traditional indigenous beliefs for Christianity are especially at risk of hostility and displacement. It sounds like you are way more focused on the politics of scripture rather than the application. Are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else in the chat? That's a weird thing about the chat is sometimes you guys are having conversations I'm not following. And why did civil unions protect gays? Taxes. Yeah, honestly, I think that they should just... I don't think the government should have any place in marriage. None. Marriage is a religious institution, always has been, and always should be. And should the government give, special consideration to married people? Sure, but that doesn't mean that the marriage itself should be a governmental institution. I don't believe in that. Most of the history of the world doesn't believe in that, right? It was the church that always married people. It was, you didn't go to the governor to get married. You went to your priest. You went to your rabbi. You went to your pontiff. You went to your pastor. Anyways, whole interesting topic of discussion, but that's it. We're at 1 minute 2, so I'm a little bit over, but God bless you all. We will see you all on the next exciting episode of Cross Examination.
Back in line, you dog! On your feet! Get them going!